Hey everybody, if you've ever wanted to install some shutters on your house, but you go down there to the home improvement place, you're just like, wow, what a ridiculous price, or have someone else do it. Hey, stay tuned, we're going to show you how to do it. Alright, so now we decided that we want to put some shutters up on our house to add a little cosmetic effect, or you may want to do it for some other reason. Okay, so first we're going to pick out what windows actually need some shutters on there. As you can see, this window here looks pretty bland, and so I want to try to add a little bit of extra curb appeal, if you will, to it. Okay, so you start out here. We're going to determine how big our shutter needs to be. Now, because this has this half moon in here, okay, we don't want to include that in our measurements. So we want to use basically this trim here, and then down to the ground, to the base down here. All right, so I decided where we're going to mount it up. So I'm going to kind of eyeball it here, and then I'm going to take my measurement, and I'm going to measure down. Okay, 54 inches. Now remember, when you decide how far out you want to go with your shutter here, okay, remember, keep all of your windows in mind, because if you want to stay symmetrical and with all of them being about the same, then you don't want to get down here and you only have this much space. Okay, so you may not have enough, so it may not look right. So take all your calculations into consideration at the beginning of the project. All right, so now that I have my measurements, I've decided how many windows I'm going to need. I went down to my home improvement place. I decided to buy my lumber. So what I decided on was I bought pressure treated fence pickets. These are about 6 inches, give or take, in there, and they're relatively cheap. These are $1.97, and they're already almost weatherproof already. Okay, now we're going to be painting these regardless, but why not get a little bit of extra protection on there? All right, so remember too, when you're using these fence pickets, that one end is dog legged on here, so you don't want to use that, or you might, but I'd say you probably don't. So make sure you start your measurement down on the flat end down here. So now we're going to go down 54 inches was our measurement here. I'm going to go ahead and mark that at 54. Then we'll go ahead and cut it. Okay, so now I've got my two boards cut from one side of my shutter. Okay, now you can either decide if you want to have a gap in here or you don't want a gap. I don't want a gap, so I'm just pushing mine together. Then you go ahead and measure across the distance of those two boards for your batten batter holder on here. Okay, so 1 second, we'll be right back with that. Okay, so now we've got it installed. I just took a measurement. Now one thing we want to do is, when you're on this, because this is a smaller one than the other one we're looking at, so it's not quite as long. So most of the time what they do is they go 12 inches down from here to there. But if I were doing that on this smaller one, the 12 inches would put me here and here, so these will be almost in the middle. So I just used the width of this one from up here down. So find you one guide and stick with it. All right, so what I did to try to help myself on these shelves, on these shutters, is the length of this was 11 1/4. So when I was cutting these, what I did was I just turned this like long ways. I held it flush against this, I brought it down, and that's where I put this board, because I already have all that cut, rather than trying to measure out 12 inches or whatever. Okay, and frankly, you're not really going to be, it doesn't really matter. Okay, the 12 is just an industry, not really even an industry standard, but a suggestion or whatever. Okay, so you can adjust it. After all, they're your shutters. Make them however you want. Okay, so now remember that now that we have the pressure treated stuff and this kind of raw wood, it's going to have a little bit like a grit or dust on it. So we want to try to clean that off so that when our paint or stain will stick on it a lot better. So I have a air thing here, air gauge. I'm also going to spray it off, but you can also use a broom. This broom is okay. I don't have one right here, so we'll just use this. Okay, so now we're ready for paint. We've got it all cleaned off and ready to go and positioned out here. Okay, one little tip. I use one of these little automatic sprayers. Now, when you add your paint to it, what I found is that, you know, I'm no private or a professional painter or anything by all means, but when I'm using one of these, the way it works is it has to be a little bit thinner. The paint has to be a little, so I take about 1 cup of water and add it into my paint. That'll help your gun work a little bit better. All right, so now we're going to start spraying. Now remember, if you're spraying using one of these outside, all right, beware of the wind. Beware of any blowback. So don't paint around your cars or all that kind of stuff. So you will get residual paint on there. All right, and if you're using a roller, just take your time and be accurate. Okay, so I'm going to just go over a little bit here right quick, and then we'll move on. Okay, and we're back. All right, now you've seen us. We measured before 54 inches on this particular window. We've painted them, we've cut them, painted them, and now we're getting ready to mount them. Now, my particular house, of course, is masonry or brick. All right, so you want to get you a particular screw. Now, some of these screws, like this screw here, I don't need to pre-drill the holes, allegedly. All right, so we're going to try that. Now, I have a masonry bit just in case. But remember, you don't want to get your masonry bit so big that your screw just doesn't grab in there, because that kind of defeats the purpose. So when you're buying your masonry bit, make sure that you're buying it a little bit smaller than the screws that you're going to use. Okay, so I've got it. Basically, I know where I'm at. I'm going to use this line right here as basically my 54, the top of my 54. So I'm going to line this down here. I'm going to set it up against my rock, my brick right here. Make sure that's straight. I'm going to try to come in on this board into the brick here. And it always pays to stretch before you do any of these projects. You never know how flexible you're going to have to be to get in. And it worked. So hey, I give these screws a 10 out of 10. The name brand of these screws is this Power One. It's a multi-material. As you can see, it says wood, masonry, metal, drywall, and plastic. Why buy anything else? And so it's the first time I've used these. So and again, I got some extra long ones too. This is 3 1/4 inches. You need to think about all the wood you got to go through, plus you want to make sure that you get it in depth into your masonry. Okay, so as you can see here, our finished product for these windows, it looks pretty nice. So for about $10 a window or so, see each one of these is like $2, $1.97. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and then I use the scraps on these basically to put these in here. So around about $10 plus screws, you can change the whole facade, the whole front porch part of your house. And as you can see with the finished product, it really changes the whole look of the house. We matched the color of the shutters to the color of our trim. Now you don't have to do that, obviously. You can do whatever color you want. And certainly there are more colors that are better than others. But this is what we chose to do, kind of offset it, because we don't have a whole lot of trim color and stuff on our house. So, you know, as far as trim pieces, mainly just shows us white brick. So just wanted to follow up with the little video here with all our shutters up all the way around. So I think it really turned out really nice. I really just changed a lot of the look of the house as far as I'm concerned. Thanks. Good luck on your endeavors.